Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Or if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Dana. I upload a new video at least once a week, and whenever I can, I like to add in an extra or two. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, now is a great time to do so you can stay on top of all of my new videos. After all, it's fall and this is the best season for tea, and a lot of my videos are about tea. So today I have another DAVIDSTEA review. This is one that I am really looking forward to trying. It is salted caramel oolong. Now first and foremost, I like to get my tea steeping. So let's open this guy up. I like using a glass mug for my tea because I love to see the color, and I actually sell these metal basket infuser guys on Amazon. They are similar to the ones that DAVIDSTEA sells, but it does have like a little bit of a longer handle. So if you're in need of one of these guys, the link is always in my description, and I really appreciate if you help me along on my dream, because hopefully this is just the first product of a whole tea company someday for me. So let's just go ahead and scoop our tea into the infuser. Oh, I'm so excited to like smell it and everything. Wow. Oh. And then pour in our water. And now we can let this steep for a couple minutes while we check out that loose tea. I'm absolutely obsessed with oolong, especially like a creamy, milky kind of oolong. But honestly, like I don't even discriminate. I don't think I've met an oolong yet that I don't like. I think I've liked every single one I've ever tried. Oolong is really special because within the category of oolong, it has a lot of different varieties. So you could try one oolong and another oolong and they can taste completely different. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I do have a whole series where I go through each tea type and talk about like how they're processed and what makes them special. So I have a video on oolong in that little series that goes really into detail about why that is, like why they can be so different, like what makes an oolong. And I do have an ebook to go with that as well. So if you're interested in that, that'll be linked somewhere for you as well. But salted caramel oolong, that just sounds amazing. DAVIDSTEA did a maple syrup oolong. Like I really loved that one. I think it was my favorite tea of the year that it came out, but I haven't really had the urge to restock it. I found myself like reaching for just straight oolongs more than that particular one, but it did have a cool like pancakey sort of vibe since it was a nice buttery oolong and then it had the maple, so it was excellent. But it was something I could pass on in favor of just a regular straight old oolong because they're so amazing on their own. But then I saw this and I'm like, okay, I can't miss that. Salted caramel, like, oh my God. Let's go ahead and read the ingredients and then we can go over to DAVIDSTEA's website to see like a full description on there. So, salted caramel oolong, obviously it's an oolong tea. And it says to steep about 4 to 5 minutes, so I'm gonna take the infuser out sooner than later because I don't want it to oversteep or get weird or anything like that. But the ingredients are oolong tea, caramel bits, and then it goes into the sub-ingredients of the caramel bits, sugar crystals, pineapple, carob, chicory root, artificial caramel flavoring, and salt. And it says contains milk because there is milk, actually condensed milk, in the caramel bits. So if you're vegan, unfortunately, this one does not fall under the vegan category. But let's go ahead and take a look at the website to see like a full description since we don't have them on the little bags of tea anymore. So this one is a fresh release because it's new this year. So here it says fresh release up there. And it says sweet, rich, and creamy with a hint of fruitiness to support the caramel flavor. That's interesting because aside from like caramel apples, like you don't really think of caramel and fruit in the same category, so that is interesting. All right, and it says, we've been working hard behind the scenes to bring you this much requested, perfectly sweet sweater weather flavor. Experience a rich and creamy blend flooded with real golden caramel bits, rightly rolled and slightly toasted oolong, plus a smattering of oversized sugar cubes. Sip now, love forever. What makes it great? This rich honey-colored blend has the perfect balance of sweet and salted caramel. The smooth and toasty oolong makes a great base for this rich blend. Oh, I'm so excited about that. Salted caramel is a trending flavor profile. Ooh, and it has 0 calories per cup. Not that I would mind a couple calories, considering it's tea and it's healthy, like it's not like drinking soda or a milkshake or something, so I'd be okay with a couple, but the fact that it's 0 is cool. But I really want to smell it and look at the tea. It definitely smells caramely. I guess I can sort of smell the fruit flavor too. I don't know why I find myself closing my eyes to smell. I usually don't do that, but I'm like really just trying to block my other senses so I can really get the smell of this tea. But it smells really caramely. I guess I don't really smell the oolong, but I do smell that hint of pineapple. And not really pineapple-y, it just smells kind of sweet, I guess, sort of, or maybe pineapple-y, a little bit like a grilled pineapple sort of flavor. But let's take some out and look at it. These chunks of sugar are huge. So here's how it looks in the spoon. Look at those big chunks of caramel and those big chunks of sugar. DAVIDSTEA's pumpkin chai also has chunks of caramel, but I don't think they're like this. And I can predict myself eating one of these because I just really want to try it. So wow, it's beautiful. Those translucent sugar crystals just look so pretty to me. Here's how they look. Yeah, these are some generous caramel bits. But here's an oolong piece. It's beautiful and tightly rolled into a little ball. And when we steep these, you guys know the little balls of oolong are gonna spread their wings and open up nice and big and beautiful so that we get a really nice full flavor. But I think it's gonna be easy to spot all the ingredients because they're all big. The caramel bits, obviously. I want to eat one. Do you think I could? I'm gonna do it. The caramel bits are good. They're not chewy. They're not really crunchy either. They're definitely milky and buttery. They're not like a caramel apple kind of caramel. They do have almost a butterscotch sort of feel to it, which I don't mind. It tastes good, but it's not gooey and stretchy because that wouldn't work in tea. It wouldn't melt down. Of course, it's gonna be a different texture because it's meant to sink into the tea and dissolve. But you know what? On that note, I'm gonna take out my infuser now so that it doesn't oversteep. So we'll just lift that guy out. You know I gotta look at the leaves. I love this infuser. I chose to sell metal basket infusers because there's so many reasons I love them, but one of them is that it has a lot of room for the leaves to expand, and that's particularly ideal for an oolong because look at that. Here is an oolong leaf. Now that it's all spread out, started off like this, and now it's this. And when tea leaves have room to expand, it steeps a little bit faster, and also it just gives you a better flavor because the whole leaf gets to really submerge and relax and really make themselves at home inside that infuser. It gives you a fuller flavor for your tea, whereas if you're using small tea bags or a small novelty infuser, those can be really nice too. There's definitely time and place to use those, but for me, I just can't get enough of the metal basket infuser because it is so big and wide for oolongs, which are my favorite kind of tea. But even with a black tea, a green tea, more room for the tea leaves to spread out, the better your tea will taste. But I see the oolong, the caramel bits. Next is the sugar crystals. Definitely see those. The pineapple, I think, is this little guy here. This little piece of fruit. So the pineapple probably gives like a little bit of a tanginess to the caramel. Like it brings out like a sweet tangy note, so it's not flat, I guess. You know what I mean? Carob. I see this thing looks like a seed. I don't really know what carob actually looks like, but this might be carob. I know carob is similar to chocolate, but like lighter in color. So I do see some pieces that look like chocolatey. Chicory root. I was gonna say, these pieces look like cinnamon to me, but it's probably the chicory root. It's like a little like bark sort of looking thing. So that's probably what that is. So it's actually easy to spot all the ingredients. Oh, and the salt. I guess the salt and the sugar would be difficult to tell apart, but I don't know if it's like giant granules of salt or if it's like little pieces. It's not a flavoring though, there is actual salt because there's artificial caramel flavoring and the salt is the very last ingredient. So that'll be interesting. I'm not sure I've ever had a tea that has salt in it. So I'm really curious how this is gonna be, but we all know that like caramel with a little bit of like sea salt in it just really brings out like that salt just brings out something really special in caramel. And I guess that's why it's like a trending flavor profile, even though I feel like it's been popular for like a couple years now, salted caramel. To have that flavor in a tea, I really hope it tastes like a real salted caramel, because I'm just imagining like how good this is gonna be. And as a latte, can you imagine a salted caramel oolong latte? I've been loving brown sugar boba teas lately. I know like I always talk about rose flavored boba teas, but a new place just opened in the same strip mall as our favorite sushi restaurant. And we've only been getting sushi for takeout since the whole pandemic started. But when we went to pick up sushi one day, I noticed there was a new tea shop opening, and it's like a boba tea, like it's a to-go drink place. And my husband and I finally tried it, and I got like a brown sugar oolong cheese tea. I don't know if you've ever heard of cheese tea, but I heard of it a while ago and was really, really intrigued by it. It has like a whipped cream cheese topping on top, and this particular one I think is the like traditional way, and it's like a salted one. So it was like the boba tasted like brown sugar, like the black tapioca balls had like a brown sugar vibe, and then I got the oolong tea, and then on top was that like that really delicious like salted cream cheese. So that like brown sugary oolong-y thing was so amazing. So I hope this tastes something like that, because the smell is like giving me that vibe. And I do have an idea for like a cheese tea I'd like to sort of make on the channel. So let me know if that sounds interesting. I mean, I'll probably do it either way, but I definitely have an idea of something I want to try. But have you guys tried cheese tea? I actually really liked it in the context that I had it. I think it went really well with the oolong because it was that salted sort of vibe, like a salted cheesecake with like brown sugar. It was really, really good. But David's Tea had another caramel tea called Creme Caramel Rooibos, and I wasn't really crazy about that one. It was obviously a rooibos tea, but to me, like, it had the taste of Play-Doh. I mean, don't pretend you never like took a little bite of Play-Doh as a kid, because I definitely did, and I'm not even embarrassed. But it had like a Play-Doh taste to me, because it didn't really have any like depth of flavor. Like the rooibos didn't really like provide anything to the caramel, and the caramel didn't really provide much to the rooibos. Like it wasn't really a great blend. It was just kind of Play-Doh-y and kind of weird. So I really have high hopes for this tea because it really smells great. Like I said, the David's Tea Pumpkin Chai also has caramel bits, and I'm sure there's been a couple other ones. Ooh, there was a pour called English Toffee that they had that was really, really delicious too. So that one was like really rich and deep and dark and really, really good. So I think this one could go either way. It might be like, might not live up to the expectations, but by the way it smells, I really think it's gonna be amazing. But I guess as far as having like a new tea, this one really is like a cool like shining star of a new tea to have. I remember last year they came out with maple chai, and they said the same thing, like it took years to come up with this blend. and it was like highly requested and all that. Like the same sort of deal, except it felt like even more so. Like it felt like they were really like mad scientists like working in their lab trying to like create that perfect maple chai. And I really hope the same kind of care and effort went into this salted caramel oolong, because that maple chai was just so perfectly balanced and amazing and just like beautifully done. And you could really tell that they put a lot of like heart into it and a lot of like trial and error and a lot of effort. I really hope that this one is like gonna be just as good as that maple chai. But anyway, let's go ahead and try it. Wow. It really tastes like salted caramel. I guess it doesn't really have, you know, when you bite a salted caramel and it's like, you know, on your, like the sensations on your tongue, I guess, where you bite it and then like you feel the salt like after, like it's like you bite it and you get the caramel and the texture of the caramel, which of course we're gonna miss when drinking a salted caramel tea. But like, you know, you bite into the caramel and you get that like salt on your tongue then, and it just makes it like, it just like hits different, you know what I mean? We of course don't get that exact sensation, but there is sort of, like it kind of is. It sort of is like the hint of salt comes to your tongue like at the end of the sip. Wow, I am so impressed with this. This is really, really good. Wow, yeah, this would make an amazing latte. I think like the, you know, it is kind of similar to the maple syrup oolong. Like it has a similar vibe because it does have that like buttery thing going on from the oolong and from the caramel. Since I like chomped one myself, I kind of know what the caramel bits taste like, and definitely does have that. So it almost has like a buttery sort of note. It's really good though, because that's exactly what caramel is, a combination of caramelized sugar and butter and just that texture. So of course I miss the texture because that's not something you can replicate in a tea, but this is very caramely. I'm really glad they decided to go with an oolong for this, because it does really give a nice depth to the caramel. You know, it has like that creamy, buttery vibe in there, whereas if they would have tried to do this with like a black tea, you would have tasted the black tea. Like the oolong was just so perfect as a base for this tea, and I almost don't even want to say base because, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh my God, that salt. But I don't even want to really say that this has an oolong base, because like, you know, if you had a salted caramel black tea, you would taste black tea with the addition of a salted caramel flavor, right? But with a lot of teas that David's Tea does, and what I love is it's salted caramel oolong, right? But it's not an oolong with the flavor of salted caramel. It's literally a salted caramel tea. So everything comes together really, really perfect and just makes an amazing buttery salted caramel flavor for a tea. So I'm not tasting oolong and salted caramel. I'm just tasting a salted caramel oolong tea. I don't know if this makes sense, but like, wow, this is good. I know they said like in the description about the fruity note, that the fruity note like enhances the caramel. And if I were them, I almost like wouldn't have even said that, because again, it's not like you taste a fruity note that you're like, oh, that enhances the caramel. You just taste a salted caramel oolong tea, you know? Like the pineapple does. It definitely does like bring out the caramel, but as like the person drinking the tea, like it's almost like none of our business even, you know what I mean? Like it's like, it's like you just taste the caramel. Like, does it even matter how it like got that way? You know what I mean? It's so like masterfully done, because they knew to put that pineapple to bring out that little note there, and they knew to put how much salt and all of that. And like, this is definitely a sweet one. It is a sweet tea, but it's not overpoweringly sweet either. Like, I'm a person who doesn't really sweeten my teas, and it's not too sweet for me. It's just good. But you are getting sweetness from both the sugar and the caramel. So keep that in mind if you are really sensitive to sweet teas. Like, you know, if you go to like Starbucks and you order a caramel latte or a salted caramel mocha, since they use syrups to get those flavors, it's just like so overpoweringly sweet. Like, it just seems like really excessive, like when I order things from there with syrup like I used to, which I mean isn't that often anyway. Like, it's a rare treat for me, but like now that I don't work at a Starbucks, it's definitely a rare treat for me to drink anything from there. But like, I just love tea so much because it's like clean. You know, like it has a clean taste, like you're not getting like sugars and your mouth isn't sticky and you have like this weird aftertaste. It feels so much more clean, but also like you're still getting all those amazing flavors. And it's more subtle, so not everybody loves flavored teas, you know, but for me, it's just the perfect treat. It really is. And this as like as a latte or even an iced latte, and then if you just take a little bit of caramel sauce and like drizzle it over the top like you would for a caramel macchiato, it would be like the perfect latte or perfect iced latte. So good. But I am really impressed with this tea. I'm so glad I bought this one. You know, this was like why I made the order, honestly, because it sounded so good. And I'm so glad I did. And I'm so glad that it kind of exceeded my expectations. It didn't just live up to it. It really did it. Like, this tea is awesome. Doesn't taste like Play-Doh at all, like the other one did. But anyway, I am so happy and so impressed with this. I really just like can't say enough. Like, I think this might be, if I've drank enough teas this year, like if I've done enough tea reviews this year to do another like end of the year video and like list my favorite teas I've tried this year, I think this one will definitely be a front runner for that. It's really, really good. You know, I still love just a straight oolong the most. So I'm probably still going to just want milk oolong straight when I want oolong. But for fall, this is gonna be such an enjoyable treat. Like, this is gonna make me some good lattes, and I think my husband will love it. And I'm really thrilled with this. Ooh, you know what would be good with this? You know Stroop waffles, those big like waffly cookies that have caramel inside, and you put it on top of your cup and it like kind of like softens and melts, and then you eat it and it's warm and you like sip your tea. Oh, that would be so good with this. The caramel like inside the Stroop waffles. Ooh, that would be so good. But yeah, I mean, all that to say, this tea is amazing. I am really impressed with it. Perfect fall flavor, and it's something a little different. You know, it's not pumpkin, it's not chai, you know, it's like it's fall without the spices, which is really cool. It's something that you don't see a whole lot. I know Starbucks has salted caramel mocha, so it's nothing like groundbreaking, but I think this tea actually is pretty groundbreaking for a tea. It's pretty impressive. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.